Hey there folks, welcome back to Chits and Cardboard, and today we bring you our top 10 board games of 2024.
Yes, it's been an excellent year.
It's been a phenomenal year for board games. There's been so many absolute hitters, and I've played so many new games this year, so I'm very well equipped.
You've played
to
an
try to rank them.
insane amount of games, even
I
just
have.
over the last 3 months.
Anyway, we haven't seen each other's list. It's gonna be a surprise, and we haven't even played the same groups of games.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we don't know what's gonna be on each other's list. It's gonna be great. Stick around. Catch you in a second. Jeffrey,
Yes, sir.
last year we only did a top 5, so
We
we've
did.
doubled the amount of games you got.
We
to
have
play.
doubled. We've actually probably
And
more than doubled because there's
now-
less crossover.
True, and now in your top 10,
Mm-hmm,
what is the worst of the best? What is your number 10?
All right, so this is a card-based game.
Yep.
It's kind of like in the vein a little bit. It's a co-op, and you're trying to play a little bit of a mind game, kind of like The Mind. You're trying to hint at what you have, and it works really, really well, especially if your entire group has a good understanding of poker. And that game is The Gang.
The Gang. Yeah,
The Gang.
it's good.
It's so much fun. So this is the lightest game on my list. And I included it. It could have been further back because there's so many really, really good games that I've played. But when we played it the first time and subsequently, we had so much
Yeah,
fun
we just
with
kept
this.
saying, let's just run it again.
Let's just run it again and run it again,
Yeah,
run
yeah,
it again.
It's true.
Yeah, essentially how the game works is you're kind of playing a cooperative game of poker. You have 2 cards in your hand, you're playing Texas Hold'em together, and you're trying to indicate whether you have the worst hand or the best hand. And by the end of the unfolding of the flop and the river and everything, if everybody has the correct assumption of what they have and everybody's correct, then you win, and you're trying to play multiple hands and figure all that out. And it's just a blast. Like I said,
Yeah.
the only caveat with it is your group kind of has to have a good understanding of how poker
Or
works and
be
Texas Hold'em.
interested in poker. 'Cause if
Yeah,
you're not,
yeah,
then the game's
definitely.
just a dud. It's kind of my issue with it. But otherwise, yeah, I agree. It's really fun.
Yeah, okay. So John, what is your number 10, sir?
My number 10
Your worst
is
best game.
an extraordinarily heavy Euro game.
Of course it is.
Like, it's really heavy. Even for me, it's really heavy.
Yeah.
And it would be higher if it was if it had one less thing going on.
I start out with a light filler game, and he comes in with a heavy Euro.
At least I wasn't biased in
typical.
putting it at number 1 or something.
No, fair,
but-
totally
okay,
fair.
So,
yeah. Go
the
ahead.
game is you are kind of playing between reality and someone's dreams, if you will.
Okay.
You are collecting attributes or traits, types of resources on a wheel, and then spending those resources as a psychologist to treat patients.
All right, I know what this
And
is.
that game is made by the creators of Endless Winter. It is beautiful, and it is unconscious mind.
Oh, I figured this was going to be on your list.
It's really good. My first play was not fantastic. It took me
yeah,
some
you told me.
salvaging to
Yep.
get back into it, but the game is really cool. I wish it had one less thing going on. It's a little too complicated almost.
Okay, yeah.
But I really like the worker placement and how the bubbles let you do actions, and you can change the strength by how many bubbles. I like that you can't point bubbles at the same place regardless of the grid, so you can't do the same action more than once. I really enjoy the psychologist moving around the city and getting to do cool stuff in the city. I love that no matter what you do, you're just making Sigmund Freud more famous. I find that really funny.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's a good time. It's heavy, it's crunchy. At 4 players, it'll take a few hours, but
Yeah,
it's a lot of
yeah,
fun. It's not something I'll play probably more than once or twice a year.
Fair. Yeah.
So, that's the kind of place it lands, but
Yeah.
I envision that kind of in the same space as Voidfall.
yeah,
and I really love
We're
Voidfall.
having a day for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
That's my number 10.
cool. I'm looking forward to
Unconscious
trying
Mind.
that.
It's a lot of fun. Jeffrey, number 9.
So my number
Neuf.
9. Okay, so my number 9 is a game that's kind of in a bit of an old school vein. It's got a little bit of an area control aspect. It's got kind of a combo-tastic feel to the game. You're placing dudes and making trade routes across the board, and you're essentially trying to score more points than your opponents, which is classic of pretty much every game. And that game is
Cascadero?
Yes, it is Cascadero.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Cascadero was so much fun.
That is not how I would have described that game at all.
No. You probably could have described that a little bit better, but
Jeez.
yeah, I know, right? But Cascadero is so much fun. I for years have played Go, and it kind of reminds me of Go, where you're placing all across the board. It's trying to block people off a little bit, trying to like control a little bit of bits of areas and do 100%. Things at like key times. And just, I love the aspect of not worker placement, but when you place your pieces out and just being able to trigger something that happens and triggers another thing and triggers another thing and triggers another thing, and you just score a ton of points, and it's just so much fun. So Cascadero, my number 9, it's fantastic.
It was my number 11.
Oh, really? Yeah, I didn't think it would be that high for you.
There. I'll spoil that for you. But yeah. Cascadero's a great game.
Interesting. Very interesting.
It is probably my favorite Knizia tile laying game.
Okay, fair. Yeah.
So I'm glad Knizia made our video.
Yeah,
I was sad
definitely.
he wasn't on my list, but I'm glad he made the video.
Yeah, no, it's a great game. If you have a chance to play it, definitely give it a try. It's not super heavy, and it's one of those games that really increases in how good it is the more times you play it. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, cool. All right, so Mr. John, what is your number 9?
My number 9 is an area control game. Surprisingly, because I don't love area control.
Area control,
it's
my favorite.
It's a bidding game. It is wildly overproduced.
It is. I think I know what this is.
It's like a secret bidding, trying to claim areas to get these resources that are worth points at the end of the game. And every time you kind of you can spend resources to get more information, but when you do, you give other people information. It's a really cool tug of war like that. And that game is
Fractured Sky.
Yeah, Fractured Sky by Ivy Studios. Fractured Sky is wicked.
Yeah, no,
it's really cool.
It's a great game.
I have minor gripes with the production. Like the production's phenomenal. The only thing...
have gripes with the production besides it being heavily overproduced?
No, I wish the player trays had all the ships in them packaged in the box, so that you didn't have to put it all together when you set up.
Okay, that's
because it makes setup ridiculous.
Yeah, a little bit.
But the game is really
a lot
fun.
Easier. Yeah.
And I think the trend of Ivy Studios, where it's really low barrier to entry, but very thinky moments and very social games.
Yes, definitely.
Which, if you're into social games, whether it's social deduction or not, if you're into just being social at the table, Ivy Studios games are king for that.
100%.
Right?
100%. You're not playing solitaire when you play one of their games.
But that is my number 9.
Okay.
Fractured Sky.
Cool. I wasn't surprised, or I'm surprised that it's that high on your list. It's a great game.
Number 8.
Okay,
Jeffrey.
So my number 8. I was not expecting this to make my top 10 before I played it. Okay. But I've only played it on the table, to be fair, once, but I've played it many times on BGA.
Okay.
It is a farming game. I love farming games. Okay, so you have a little bit of asymmetry in this game.
Yep.
It's very, very resource tight. And it's very, very thinky, but also pretty accessible, I would say, for the most part.
Yeah.
You can make some bad moves that will affect you, but overall. So that game is Harvest. Harvest, I was really, really surprised by. I really, really enjoyed this one. Essentially what you do is you have a farm that has a little bit of cleared land for planting stuff, and you need to clear more land. You're spending your actions with your workers to fill your bucket of water, upgrade things, gather poop, lots and lots of poop. Build buildings, and do all kinds of different things. It's very tight, it's very thinky, but I honestly feel like it has a very low barrier of entry for how tight of a game this is.
It is, because it's a worker placement that has 7 total locations.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's super tight, but what you're doing isn't that complicated. I like it a lot.
And every single play is different because your character that you're playing is asymmetric, and the tiles that come out, which are the additional action spaces, are very, very different. They change every single time. They change every round. Yeah, it's great. So if you haven't tried Harvest, it's fantastic. Give it a shot.
Harvest is great.
Yeah. All right, Mr. John, your number 8, sir.
My number 8 is a very deluxeified game.
Okay.
It involves placing workers, gathering resources, using those resources to plant crops, tend those crops, and that game is also Harvest.
Seriously, we have a true crossover? I was not expecting this at all.
Yeah, my number 8 is also Harvest.
Okay, cool.
Harvest is great. The disparity between the standard edition and deluxe edition is crazy, production-wise and
you have
price-wise.
The deluxe, right?
But the standard edition is still really nice for $50 or whatever it is. Just pick that one up. You're gonna see B-roll of mine as the deluxe. get the standard edition. But the game's really fun. It's super cool. It's super tight. I like the puzzle that it presents. I love how the asymmetry is so minor, but it changes the game so much.
It really does.
Yeah. I can't add to that more than you said.
Okay,
So.
all right, cool. Yeah.
Harvest. Jeffrey.
All right.
Number 7.
Surprises all over the place. Okay. So this one wasn't a huge surprise for me. This is a re-implementation of a very, very loved and touted game. The original one is up there, I believe, still in the top 50. I can't remember exactly where it places. But the re-implementation is quickly rising on BGG. So
I know what this is.
Yeah, it's IP themed.
It's small.
It's very small. It's a small box. It's easy to learn. It's very kind of tactical, I think you could say.
We made a review for it.
Yeah. I'll cut to the chase. It is Lord of the Rings Duel for Middle-earth.
Yeah. Good pick.
So Seven Wonders Duel is the original version of this game, kind of. The aspects of Seven Wonders that I appreciated but didn't really love were just completely improved, and everything that I wasn't super a fan of or not that excited by with Seven Wonders Duel is there for me in Duel for Middle-earth. Specifically, the area control aspect. I absolutely love it because the tug of war on the military track from Seven Wonders Duel, it was very boring to me. So
that's fair.
Anyways, Duel for Middle-earth, check out a review of it. It's great.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's a good pick.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
All right. What is your number 7, sir?
My number 7 is not
Yes.
War of the Rings, Duel for Middle-earth, whatever, Lord of the Rings.
That is a travesty.
Whatever, it's
That's
not.
a travesty. He's
my
wrong.
number 7 is a Mad Max style racing game.
Okay.
Of hilarious dice rolling proportions.
Okay. All right.
It is touted by Shut Up and Sit Down as the perfect mix between Heat and Thunder Road Vendetta.
Yeah. Okay.
And that game is Joyride Survival of the Fastest.
Yes. Yes.
We played that recently.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. It's like
I'm surprised
it's
you
just
have it on your top 10.
chaos, man. It's just like
It's a lot of fun.
It's racing where like you're kind of pushing your luck, but you can choose to not push your luck. But if you don't push your luck, then you're getting like less of a benefit, kind of.
Yeah.
So it's like double push your luck.
Yep.
It's like push your luck exception, if you will. It's really cool. So you just basically you have these dice in your rearview mirror. You roll the dice. You can lock those dice. And then if you lock those dice, you move that number of spaces, and you roll the rest of them.
Yep.
And then if you roll them, you have to go however far they go. And when you gear up, you can only you lock dice before you gear up or down. So like if you gear up, you're forced to roll that last dice, which is like a little bit of a punishment for gearing up. Also, dice that you lock remain on that face until the next round. So you can lock the same values over and over. But if you ever want your values to change, you're forced to roll them. Also, there's really cool asymmetric powers. There's really cool items you'll run into, like rockets and stuff. That
Catch-up
mechanic.
mechanic.
There's catch-up
mechanics is really cool.
Yeah, I think the game is just really well implemented. It's very smart.
Yeah.
The modules are really cool. The production is really nice. The colors are really like cyber or not cyberpunk. What's the word I'm looking for? Borderlands-y.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
I'm a big fan.
You're like skipping over the entire fact of you were running into each other the entire time, like smashing each other into barriers, taking damage to your car, like limping across the finish line.
Anyway,
a lot of fun.
That was my number 7.
Okay.
Jeffrey, number 6. This is the top of the bottom half.
Okay. This is a little bit of a blind bidding game, a little bit of deduction, a little bit of area control, a little bit of resource gathering, a little bit of combat,
a little bit of deluxe production, a little bit of Fractured Sky.
A lot of deluxe production. Yeah, so it's Fractured Sky. So John already talked about this. Fractured Sky, it's one of those games, when I first played it, I knew that I had to get it. I did not back it on Kickstarter, but because it's so easy to get into, and I love area control. It's my favorite, like area control and worker placement. I'm sold. Okay, with that said, John, it is time for your number 6. It better be good.
I shall take.
It better be good.
My number 6 is a worker placement multimodal. So like you place your workers, then remove workers, then place them again. which is going to be a big enough hint for some of the people watching. It is a tableau builder, very much in the vein of Wingspan or Wormspan.
Okay. I think I know what this is.
It is designed by a Japanese or it's published by a Japanese publishing house.
Okay.
Who's responsible for some of the games slowly rising up my ranks.
I'm not sure if I'm more sure
It
of
is
this or less.
asymmetric. It has phenomenal expansions, phenomenal components, and that game is a biohack.
Oh, okay. It's not what I was thinking, but I haven't played this. I'm really excited for too.
Biohack has one of the coolest worker placement mechanisms I think I've ever seen. And it really lends well to a higher player count. I don't think it's good at 2. I think it's good at 3, preferably even 4.
Okay, cool.
So the way it works is you kind of like secretly pick where your workers are going to go and then put your workers out there as a group, like simultaneously. And then when you pull your worker off, however many workers are left is how strong the action is. But if you like when you pull that worker off, you have another side of the board you can place that worker on.
Okay.
And there's
that's cool.
exclusive spots there. So you're juggling the exclusivity of placing your workers earlier versus pulling workers off earlier to get bonuses on the other side.
I like that. You didn't tell me about that.
You're
before.
doing all this to like build up a tableau of monsters that are being developed in this biological lab. Insert theme here, right? But like the general mechanisms and puzzle are super cool.
This game looks so awesome.
It's super cool. But yeah, that's my 6, and I'm surprised it wasn't higher. I pub meepled this. My number 6. That just shows you how strong of a year it is.
Yeah, no, 100%.
My number 6 is Biohack.
I think if I had played this, I think this would 100% be on my list.
Probably.
100%.
Number
Alrighty.
5. We're in the top half.
Number 5. Ooh,
Number
exciting,
5,
exciting.
Jeff. What you got?
This is where last year's list started.
This is where last year this started.
We have more overlap so far than I thought we were going to. But
Me
anyways,
too, but I think it ends here.
I think this is where we're gonna start to diverge and then
Yeah.
probably come back together
somewhere in the
hard.
top. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this game is probably John's gonna know what this is pretty quickly, I believe.
Yeah.
So this is a bit of an environment. You're building an environment or an ecosystem game. I've talked about it many times before. It's tile laying. Has a bunch of animals. Has a bunch of different terrain pieces that you're placing, and you're placing animals on top of those terrain pieces. If it satisfies the environment that those animals want to live in, yes. And that game is Harmonies.
Yeah.
Harmonies is a great game. It's my favorite tile placing game to date. It could be overtaken for sure, but it's in the vein, if you haven't played it, of Cascadia, Verdant, Calico, Shallow Sea now, which was also a great game.
So I actually prefer Shallow Sea, which is why
I know you do.
Didn't make my list, but Shallow Sea's not out, so I can't put that in my list.
Oh,
so now I'm just in a weird place.
I was expecting that to be your one.
No, I can't put it in. It doesn't exist yet.
But Harmonies, so everybody I've played Harmonies with absolutely loves this thing. John prefers Cascadia or now Shallow Sea.
Or both.
Or both, yeah. It's absolutely fantastic. It's very affordable. It's like infinite replayability, basically. It's going to be different every single time you play it.
100%.
Yeah, it's just fun. There's a lot of strategy and a lot of thinking ahead. It's awesome. Harmonies is great. It's a good cozy time. Yeah. All right, sir.
Again, we're having a banger of a year. You're gonna be surprised this game is so low.
100%. So what is your number 5?
My number 5 is a worker placement, resource collection, card drafting adjacent tableau building game.
Okay. I think I know what this is.
You're playing as a explorer who's landed on an island and has discovered a whole bunch of wondrous creatures.
Yes.
Wondrous creatures is my replacement, we'll call it, for the position of Everdell. I think it does what Everdell does, plus at least base Everdell, and does so like less stringently and quicker.
Yes, I was just gonna ask, does it do it faster? Because it seems like
it's faster and it's a lot less like chokeholdy. Like the resources aren't as strict because you can kind of pick what you want and when. But like there's still interest in like occupying certain areas of the map. Also, it has this really cool concept of map building, where as the game progresses, you can add tiles to the map and make certain areas stronger or like locations better. I also like how they did like the creatures. I love the Everdell creature matching to a building, but as I mentioned in our review video, shameless plug, I find that causes you to just start sifting through the deck looking for combos in Everdell.
Yeah, it does.
Whereas in Wondrous
really
Creatures,
hunting for those cards.
It's a lot more of like kind of like a sandbox of make what you can with what you got. I think that Bad Comet, the publisher of Wondrous Creatures, is on a crazy rise right now. Life of the Amazonia last year was amazing. Wondrous Creatures this year is amazing. Shallow Sea next year is gonna be amazing. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, it's a great
So
game.
they're on a pretty crazy trajectory. Keep your eye out for them. But yeah, that's my number 5.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, on to
Number 4.
Number 4. Okay. So my number 4 was one of my most anticipated games of this year. Yes, it is not a re-implementation, but kind of like putting another theme and kind of almost a 2.0 or a 1.5 of one of my most beloved games ever. It's sci-fi themed, it is worker placement, it's combat, it's a bit of a hybrid between a Euro game and Amerithrash, which is the preferred term. It is Andromeda's Edge.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really high.
Yeah, no, Andromeda's Edge, I really enjoyed it. I want to get it to the table a lot more. I still haven't decided whether I prefer it over Dwellings, which is the kind of like 1.0 game of it. Dwellings is a little bit simpler, a little bit more, I don't even know how to describe it. Fantasy is my preferred theme generally.
It's a little more thematic.
It's more thematic, yeah, that's a good way.
Streamlined.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But Andromeda's Edge, it looks absolutely amazing, although the box storage and everything is a nightmare. That box is not
Yeah, let's
not
just say
fun.
when I boxed
Not
it
fun.
in the group chat,
Yeah.
and I was just like, is this like game
Yeah.
trays? Like,
Everybody agreed.
what are we doing here?
Yeah, but Andromeda's Edge is really, really cool. I like the asymmetry in it. I like that you can upgrade your different ships. I love worker placement. I love area control. I love that you're battling giant like space creatures
And they're
slash
so nice.
aliens. The models are amazing. You're building buildings up. You're scoring points on all kinds of different tracks. I really like the aspect that when you take a worker off of the board and put it back on your ship, if you spend energy, which is one of the resources that you're collecting throughout the game, you can activate a ton of different modules that you've installed, and it's awesome. It's really,
adds
really
to the
cool.
engine building from Dwellings a lot, for
Absolutely,
sure.
absolutely. I just wish they did their inserts better this time around.
Valid. Very valid.
Yes. All right, John, we're getting close to our top 3s, but what is your number 4?
Barely missing the top 3. My number 4 is based on a video game IP.
Okay, all right.
It is a deck building game.
It's 1 or 2 of games.
It is a deck building roguelike, which they both are, so I haven't narrowed you down at all.
Yep.
Where you are traversing through randomly generated sequences of events to get to a boss, to do it over and over. And that game is most accurately re-implemented because the computer game was also a card game, and that game is Slay the Spire.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Slay the Spire is like probably the best video game implementation in a board game ever.
Yeah.
Like it is just the video game.
Seems like it.
Cooperative.
Yeah.
Which is so sick. And now they're making Slay the Spire 2 in video game form, and that'll be cooperative. But right now, Slay the Spire is not cooperative on video games, but
No,
it is
not at all.
cooperative on
Yeah.
the tabletop.
It's solo only.
And it's still super smooth. They simplified and streamlined a lot of the math that happens with the various effects, so that it's not like super confusing.
It also worked better for multiple players as well because of that. Yeah.
The character building is super cool. Like the way that your decks develop over time. The unlocks are super cool. The achievements are great. I really enjoy this game.
Yeah. Everybody
This
says
is
that it's fantastic.
one of my favorite co-op games.
Ooh,
It's that good.
I'm not surprised.
And
I'm not
it's
surprised.
it's just again banger year. It's only number 4.
Yeah.
Just absolute savage year.
Yeah, oh, 100%. This is another honorable mention for me because Slay the Spire, I love the video game. It's great. I love deck
haven't played
builders,
it.
but I haven't played it yet. So we are playing that again soon,
Naughty
so
boy.
I can finally get into it.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Now you're in the top 3.
Yes!
This is the big league.
Top 3. Okay. So
I
my
hope I can guess these. This will be
bronze
awkward.
place game. I don't think you're going to.
Okay.
Well, I think you're going to guess one. Yeah. But okay, how to do this? All right. So this game is almost a medieval theme.
Yep.
It's based on an IP kind of, not really a franchise, but anyways, something that everybody knows about.
Okay.
You're placing different units across a map of England.
Okay.
You are trying to establish different camps. You're trying to incite revolts. You're trying to, or maintain order. You're trying to gather up resources to expand your influence.
Is this the Last Kingdom?
No, it is not the Last Kingdom. It is a Jest of Robin Hood.
Oh.
Yes. Now
That's a coin game,
it
right?
is a coin game, which stands for counterinsurgency. And when I originally looked at the rule book for this game, I was like, holy crap. I do not want to sift through this thing. However, it's actually a very easy game to play. It's one of those where they need to improve the rule book for it. They do have kind of like a get up and playing kind of like example of a few rounds. But anyways, a Jest of Robin Hood is essentially you are playing either as Robin Hood and his merry men, or you're playing as the Sheriff of Nottingham. If you're the Sheriff of Nottingham, you're trying to maintain order, to capture and throw in prison the merry men and Robin Hood. As Robin Hood, you're trying to incite revolt, you're trying to rob caravans, you're trying to rob people for their money, you're trying to foil the plans of the sheriff, and essentially you are trying to play this tug of war either towards justice as Robin Hood or to order as the sheriff before King Richard comes back to England and the game ends. Cool. It's really, really, really fun. It's 2-player only. There's another 2-player game that's going to be on my list coming up. Yes, spoilers. I know, right? Spoiler. But yeah, a Jest of Robin Hood. It's going to look intimidating for anybody who tries this, but it's absolutely fantastic.
Interesting.
This is a really, really cool game. The artwork is a little bland. It's a little in the old style. It's got all kinds of like old school artwork and everything, but it's great. It's a tug of war back and forth. It's fantastic. It's sneaky. Cool. It's thinky. It's great.
Nicely done.
Yeah, a Jest of Robin Hood. All right, so it is time for your number 3. What is your bronze medal game?
My bronze medal game, all 3 of these deserve a gold medal, I'll be honest. They're all we're making our top 30. I'm sure these will be making an appearance, right? A lot of these games. This is a spell slinging, deck building, wizard battling game.
Okay.
It is set in like medieval, like I don't even know, like it's like medieval kind of like era, but like magical, mythical medieval era.
I think I know what this is.
It is a massive universe created by Ludus Magnus Studio, who also makes DEI, who you're a big fan of, and now you know it. That game is Black Rose Wars Rebirth.
Yeah.
This is the coolest like PvP battle style game. It's got this cool like so the deck building is you have a deck.
Yep.
Then each round you draw 2 cards from your deck and 2 cards from one of like many schools of Magic, which then deck builds your deck more.
Yes.
So every turn you're playing with 4 cards, 2 of which were from a deck that you didn't control, and 2 of which were from a deck you did control. And then the game plays out like you're battling each other, but as you do that, you're like damaging the facility or like doing damage to the building, if you will. I know technically, thematically, it's repairing it in this game. You're damaging the building. As you damage the building,
you're slinging fireballs.
You're slinging fireballs.
And lightning. And all
as you
that
damage the
stuff.
building with your magic, you're adding like these cubes to each room, where the magic kind of happens. The room where the magic happens. And it's like a majority kind of game for who had the most magic that affected that room, and they get some bonus points payout. So it's kind of like a hunt, like you're hunting other mages because if you kill them, you get points.
Yeah.
And then you're hunting, like hitting the right rooms at the right spells at the right time. And then there's so much expandability in the game, from the base game to the Rhodas box to like the 4 Horsemen and the Apocalypse elements. Like there's so many decks of this magic.
There's like 3 different games that can all be synergized together.
Yeah.
Depending on which one
you want.
And
then if you have Nova Aetus Renaissance, there's like spells
really cool.
you can bring out from Nova Aetus into Black Rose Wars. Yeah. It's just really cool.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
Oh, I'm so excited to try this one.
It's the most, like, it's the freshest game I've played in a long time.
Interesting.
Like, it's just such a cool take. Anyway, Black Rose Wars Rebirth.
Yeah, that game like looks so cool. Like the spells and everything.
Ludus Magnus again, consistently putting out.
100%.
Absolute slappers.
100%.
So yeah.
Okay. It is time for the number 2, the silver medal.
Silver medal.
The silver medal. And
Podium.
I think John might be a little shocked by this. But so this is another sci-fi themed game. It's got some area control. It is described as a trick-taking game, but it's not really a trick-taking game. You know what this is.
Yeah, I already got
so
it.
There's tons of asymmetry.
Number 2?
Number 2. Yeah, number 2. Okay. So that game is Arcs.
Arcs.
Arcs is absolutely fantastic and easily could have been my number one. Easily could have been
Yeah,
my
I feel like
number
you were
one.
just trying to make a point here. I don't feel like it's not. I feel like you were just like, you know what?
Did I think about that slightly? Yes, but it is fantastic, and we'll see where it places on my top 30.
30. Yeah.
Okay, so my top 30. We'll see if things change a little bit. Which
As
it
you play
might.
it more, sure.
It might. No, as I play the other one more, because I haven't
see.
really decided yet between the two. So it could easily be my number
Okay,
one.
okay.
But Arcs, we've talked about it. We did a review on it. Everybody's been talking about it. It's such a fantastic game. He's going to talk about it as well and probably describe it better than me. But Arcs.
Spoiler alert.
Well, come on. But
Okay.
anyways, so
Yeah.
Arcs, you're area controlling around a galaxy. You're battling with each other. You are making declarations about what you want to do. You're trying to capture other people's agents. You're trying to destroy their ships. You're
Second
trying.
is crazy.
I know, right? The mechanisms for your action selection is absolutely fantastic with the cards. Whether you steal initiative from somebody, and you get to declare what your objective for the game is, or the global objective for everybody for that round. You can copy what somebody else's move is if you don't have those particular cards. You're always playing with a bad hand. I just love the game where it's limiting in so many different ways. It's so thinky. You can have an overall strategy that just completely falls apart as soon as you get like dealt your next hand of cards.
Sure.
And you have to adapt constantly. It's a tactics game. It's not an overall strategy game. Arcs is fantastic, infinitely replayable. Any player count, basically, it's awesome.
I agree.
Yeah, Arcs number 2.
Good pick.
Fantastic game.
I mean, bad placement. Good. It's
Fair. Okay, so
like not liking Arc Nova. It's crazy. Anyway.
Arc Nova's whatever. Okay, so Mr. John, what is your silver medal game? I knew that was going to throw you for a loop.
Jesus.
Go ahead, sir. What is your runner-up?
My runner-up
year?
is again an extraordinarily heavy game.
Mm-hmm.
It has to do with the progression of society and the creation of ideas.
Okay.
Some might say
Alright.
the evolution of ideas.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Basically, the theme of this game is you're taking inventions from the inception down to the point where they're shared with the world.
Mm-hmm.
It is a Lacerda game. It is, in my opinion, the best Lacerda game after the number of plays I've had, and that is Inventions, Evolution of Ideas.
Yeah.
It's great. It's by far his most ambitious game, I think, because it has this weird, like, it's him like dipping his toes into area control before Speakeasy came out. Because like the game has like this action selection mechanism, very Lacerda adjacent, where like you can't pick an action you've been on before, and like people can block other people and gain points if they like bump. And like the actions are tied to one another, so you can only do one half of a side on any given turn.
Oh, cool.
Very similar to like Kanban or something. But then there's this whole like map. And then on the map, based on where the inventions happen, you want to have workers such that when inventions get shared, you get a shitload of points on those workers.
Yeah.
And then you're balancing like on the map, like if you discover certain things, you're flipping tiles over, and then you can mass flip them back to get a whole bunch of points. But those tiles are free actions.
It sounds cool.
And each invention has innovations that happen that are optional, but are also free actions. And the game has like, you have this resource that's literally chains. And you can spend these chains to do chain actions as long as you're able to. And then there's a reputation track, and the higher you are on the reputation track, the faster you refresh the chain actions, so you can do more total actions.
Oh, that's cool.
It's a really weird take on adding workers in a way that I find really unique. There's the game is so complicated, I could talk about it for hours. But it really is super fun, and it has that Kanban EV effect, where when you think about the logical progression of the game,
what
it
I should do
makes sense.
throughout the game.
And I like that a lot. Inventions.
I think
number 2.
Once I play this, I'm gonna like this one.
Yeah,
definitely. Okay.
Strong.
All right.
Strong here.
Very strong.
Strong here.
Very strong here.
Jeffrey, your number 1, somehow not Arcs.
You
You know what? Let's just cut it here. My number 1 game of the year was Arcs, because we've spoiled it by now, and I don't want to spoil Jeffrey's. Arcs is a trick-taking card game. It is, I call it action planning, because there's no good hand in Arcs. The low cards have a lot of actions on them. The high cards have very few actions on them. So you're always balancing whether you want to keep winning tricks or like
declaring ambitions.
Declare ambitions, or take like lower cards and do more actions. There is kind of a balancing act you have to play, where like sometimes there's an ability to steal the lead, which is why I don't think it's strictly a trick-taking game. And if you steal the lead, you can like do that and then play a card that would give you way more actions than having the lead would have if you had a high card.
Yeah.
But the real talent and the real beauty of Arcs is that the actual board state only matters for like maybe 20% of the game. As far as the victory
Constantly
conditions go.
Yeah.
So like the game operates by you getting points by declaring ambitions. We have a review of this game. We go much more in depth.
Yeah.
These ambitions are mostly related to resources, and then there's one thing that's related to domination and dominance of the board.
Yes. Yeah.
The rest are related to having like cities in certain locations that you can tax resources for, or having allegiances in a market. Again, the game's really slick. It's really clean. I love that game. Jeff spoiled my number one. So Jeffrey, to end on a high note, what is your number one? And why isn't it Arcs?
Okay.
And why are you wrong?
Okay, so my gold medal game for this year.
Root came out like 6 years ago, right?
Yes, and you know what? I'm glad you mentioned Root, because this game is being described, and I somewhat agree with this, as the 2-player Root. It is an asymmetric area control game.
I know what it is.
Yes, you do.
I
you
haven't
have
played it.
completely different decks of cards. It's a card-driven game, obviously. You're battling with each other. You're trying to position around the board. One faction is kind of mountain and like steel and iron based, and one is wood and forest based, and that game is Ironwood. Ironwood is so cool. It gives me a lot of flashes of Root, but in a 2-player package. The asymmetry is absolutely fantastic. I love how the combat works. I love how the Woodwalkers are kind of these solo units that are moving across the board. I love how the Ironclad's kind of like an army with different groups that are marching across the mountainsides. You're going to absolutely love this, and we're going to play this together very, very soon. Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. It's very thinky. It's going to be different every time you play it, because you're going to get certain cards at certain times that are one-shots that are just absolutely fantastic and cool and really powerful, but not overpowered. Yeah, it's great. From the first time I played it, I was just blown away. I didn't expect to love it as much as I did. I want to play it more and more.
I didn't expect you to love it as much as you did.
Oh, it's absolutely great. And I do love 2-player games. I love that head-to-head battle. I love area control. I love card-driven games. Like, it's just great. I highly, obviously, as my number one, recommend you to try it. If you have a really good friend and you both like area control, give this one a shot, because I think you'll love it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Arcs, Ironwood. And now we have a giveaway winner to pick, so catch you in a second. So we're just finishing up editing our top 10 games of 2024 video, and as promised, we have a giveaway to give to you folks. I once again want to thank Slowplay for providing this set of poker chips to give away to you guys. Let's pull the winner. Let's see who won. So I've just loaded up the video into a random comment picker. I've excluded myself, unique authors only. Let's run it. Mr. Wiz NMYR. He's excited to play Brass Birmingham and anything Western/pirate themed, waiting for the large set of iron clays. Congratulations, man. Give me a shout on Discord. The link to the Discord will be in the description, or you can hit us up on Instagram at ShitsandCardboard, and we will send those off right to you. Thanks for watching.